Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, people, good evening. I hope you're all well. Hope you've all enjoyed your weekend. I hope you've been sunning it up for those that have been sunny on holiday or abroad. I know there's quite a lot of you that are listening that are out and about at the moment on your holidays, enjoying life. And I hope that if it has been one where you're staying indoors, then it's been a nice one. And I hope you've had some sun in your garden. You've had some fun. Olympics is underway. I'm sure most of you are watching that. That's been good, to be fair. It's given us something to watch. And, of course, there is pre-season to discuss as well. Over the coming days, I think we're going to do some build-up to that. Obviously, Wednesday, Arsenal are playing. And then, obviously, we've got the Emirates Cup game as well before the season then is upon us. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? The season's pretty much here. It doesn't seem like yesterday we were talking about England going into the Euros. Doesn't seem like yesterday thinking, pre-season's ages away, and now it's nearly over, and the season's amongst us. Do me a favor, please, people. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure that you get us towards that 30K as a community, which is the next one that we want to go and try and hit. And make sure you do me a favor. And if you do want to ask any questions tonight, that you hit the question in the chat. Make sure there's a queue at the start of it, and we'll go through some of those together tonight. We're going to be talking about the striker options tonight at Arsenal, because things are hotting up for where Arsenal want to put their focus, I suppose. We're going to talk about those options and what that might look like. We're going to talk about the outgoings of potentially Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson. We're also going to look at what we're doing defensively, because Jacob Kiwior and Zinchenko are both still here, as is Kieran Tierney. What's going to happen there? So please make sure you get your questions in. I'll do my best to star them. We're going to go through some of the rumours tonight as well, because at the moment we're seeing a lot of confusion as to where we are going as a striker. If we're going to go for a striker, are we going to go for a winger? Let's take a look at what we believe is being spoken about at the moment in terms of rumours. Are they heavy? Are they loosely linked? Well, we're going to go through everything tonight. That's for sure. As we go into a new week. Do me a favour, people, please show some love to Manscaped. Manscaped has got the Beard Hedger 20% off now. Please make sure you click on the link in the description and on the link in the comment section. It will take you straight through to the website. And, of course, you can get the beard trimmers there. The Beard Hedger 20% off will automatically come off. So please make sure that you do that. Show them some love. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat and everybody watching live. Big up to Kian, big up to Niffin, big up to Stapes, Will, Jake, hope you're well, Mark, Bradley, Carol, Yol, who else have I missed? Alex from Forder on Football, big up, bro, Nando the Gunner, and everyone else that I've missed that is watching on catch up and watching live that is not in the chat. So big up to everybody that's here. We're going to talk a little bit about the striker situation. First of all, I want to talk about Eddie Nketiah, because I have absolutely no idea what's going on here. The latest we heard, Marseille and the club, Arsenal, were not agreeing on a fee. It looks as if the personal terms are agreed for Eddie Nketiah. Looks like he's potentially leaving. Looks like he wants to go to Marseille. But unfortunately, at the moment, there's no real understanding of how much Marseille are going to have to pay. And Arsenal are saying that they're standing firm for around about 30 to 35 million. They're bidding for 27 million plus, and it ain't enough yet. So is this going to drag on? Is this going to negotiate more for a while? We don't really know at the moment. Let's be real. Let's take a look at what Fabrizio Romano has said latest on this, because I would say he's probably the most reliable journalist out there. That's just my opinion, though. Some people would potentially disagree with that. But this is the latest on Eddie. Understand that Arsenal want at least 35 million plus a sell-on clause for Eddie Nketiah. That's 35 million euros, which works out, I imagine, at around about, 26, 27 million, I imagine, something like that. Arsenal decided to reject 27 million euros proposal from Marseille, as revealed on Friday. No agreement between the clubs so far, and Marseille could now start to look also at new options. Now, nothing's moved on that so far. What is frustrating, though, is that we might actually miss out on potentially selling this guy. Now, I don't think that he will stay at Arsenal. I think another club will potentially come in. The problem you've got is if Marseille aren't willing to pay the 30 to 35 million euros, why would anybody else? Once you know that that's the actual price and you think that's way too over the top for Eddie Nketiah, which some might think is not, why would they go and potentially expect Fulham, Brentford, West Ham, Wolves to pay more money than what Marseille would? I think personally we might have messed this one up a bit. I'm not saying that we 100% have to just get rid of Eddie at the first option. I honestly don't think that between 20 and 25 million euros is really far off what he's worth. I have to be honest with you guys. I'd like more. Of course I would. I'd love more. I'd love to get to the stage where we can sell Eddie Nketiah for 30 million plus. But if Smith-Rowe went for 27 million euros, is Eddie Nketiah going to be worth more than Smith-Rowe? I don't think so. I think the potential of Smith-Rowe is much, much higher. He's 23 years old. Eddie's 25. Eddie's not a player that I look at as getting any better, in my opinion, from now on. He's not a player that I look at to be, oh my God, he's going to go to a new level if he goes to this club. I think we just need to accept that he's about 20 to 25 million pounds and we've got to try and get him sold. So I can see this one happening potentially. If there's movement there, I honestly believe that Arsenal will have to bring a striker in because we can't downgrade on Smith-Rowe and Eddie leaving and just not replace either of them and just say Ethan Nwaneri is ready to replace Smith-Rowe and we just won't deal with another third choice striker this season. We'll just keep Havertz and Jesus. That to me is actually potentially weakening the side. So we have to go and get something, whether it's a winger, a striker or both. Now, I don't want to talk about the wingers tonight because we're linked with not anybody. We're not really linked with Neto. Eze's gone quiet. Leroy Sané doesn't look like it's happening. Nico Williams looks like he's staying. Who else is there, really? Unless we're going to go back in with a madness for like Serge Gnabry or we're going to go and try and get somebody that's young and upcoming. I don't really see anything happening there at the moment. It really doesn't seem to be too busy in that market. But the striker market's hotting up. Not just with Arsenal, I will say. There's other clubs that are interested in looking at a deal potentially for these strikers. Now, the striker market at the moment is not the best. I can't lie. It's not one that I look at and think, wow, this is incredible. But at the same time, there are options there. And there are options at the moment that 100% is better than what Arsenal have got. Havertz and Jesus are good, but they're not clinical enough to get us 15, 20, in my opinion, a season consistently. So Havertz, he might do well. He might get 15, 20 if he plays every single game up top. Jesus, I think he could touch 15. He got 14 for City when he's playing up top. But I think we could do better than that, and we could look to get a 20-goal a season striker at least. So what are the options? Well, the options at the moment, believe it or not, are not Ivan Toney. They're not Ollie Watkins. And they're not Alexander Isak. However, there are strong rumours suggesting, believe it or not, that actually Isak is someone that Arsenal would like. Now, I know it's not going to happen this window. I understand and appreciate that. It's not going to. He's not available. I think everybody wants Alexander Isak, but he's not available. And I would absolutely love this to be able to be the case that we get, I think, the dream striker for Arsenal win. Now, it is being reported on Transfer News Daily that, I don't know if this is for this window, that Arsenal really like him. And this came in 18 minutes ago now. Does that say? 19 minutes ago. The Independent are suggesting Arsenal dreams of attracting Alexander Isak to the club. He is considered the perfect compatible player with Arteta's style of play. Now, that is the dream. That's everyone else's dream. In my opinion, he's the number one that we should be looking to try to get. He's not going to happen this summer, in my opinion, but potentially it could happen next summer. So there's that debate, isn't there? Do we go for somebody like Isak next summer and not get somebody this year? Or do we go for a striker and then think, do you know what, let's get Isak this next summer as well on top of what we've got? I don't think that is a bad thing. Personally, people will say, why are you going to do that? Buy two strikers in 2 summers? Why not? Why not? Buy one this summer. You've got 3. out of Havertz, Jesus, and the new person that you sign, one of them goes the following summer, and you buy Isak. Why is that a bad thing? So honestly, it's mad. If this is even half an inkling of true, this would make the summer window for me. If this happens now, this would make the summer window for me. I don't care how much it costs. 100 million rejected, 120 million rejected, 150 million rejected. Go get him. Just go get him. If that's the one you want, spend all your money on Alexander Isak and put that on top of Calafiori and Marino, and you would be absolutely fine. I don't care that you don't buy another winger. Just pay Jesus out there. Doesn't bother me you don't get another winger. So for me, that has to happen, man. That absolutely has to happen. If it doesn't happen, which I don't think it will, then there's other options, isn't there? And the other options at the moment, it doesn't really look like there's anyone heavily linked. But of course, there's murmurings of Gyokeres, Victor Osimhen, and today Julian Alvarez, which to me would be an interesting one. I just cannot see why Manchester City would sell Julian Alvarez to Arsenal. I can understand why if he wants first team football, he wants to leave. I can understand that they might believe that please stay. No, okay, you want to go. We're going to sell you, but it's going to be to an abroad club. It's going to be to a club like Atletico Madrid and PSG, who are apparently showing interest. But according to Transfer News Live, Arsenal were actually interested in Julian Alvarez. Now, there's a lot of reports suggesting this as well. It's not just a couple of sources. There's a few sources that are suggesting that there is real actual belief that Arsenal are interested in Julian Alvarez. Now, apparently we're considering a move for him, but they may have to make further sales to fund his purchase, as Manchester City would want around 80 or 90 million euros. That's coming from the Sunday Mirror. How long ago was that? A few hours ago. Yeah, this morning. So that comes out this morning. So for me, if Arsenal are considering making a move for Alvarez, that means they believe that they could tempt him. Must mean that they believe Manchester City would sell him. And I know people will say, well, they sold us Jesus and Zinchenko. Yeah, but that was very different because we were a Champions League side. Yeah. They've sold Palmer and Sterling to Chelsea because they're a Champions League side now. Well, they're not even that. Yeah. So they're not title race now. I believe now they've got to title race. I don't think Arsenal are going to be in a position to be signing players like this. But I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Pep and Arteta are so smitten that they are actually quite happy to do business. But I honestly don't believe this one's going to happen. Now, if we're willing to fund players, I get that. That's basically saying if you want to go for a striker like Alvarez or others, you've got to sell Eddie Nketiah, you've got to sell Reece Nelson. Potentially, you might have to sell Kieran Tierney, maybe Aaron Ramsdale or Jacob Kivior, Zinchenko, these guys that are all rumoured to be murmuring with rumours of leaving. We might have to get that business done. And I get that. I understand that. But call me crazy. I don't think the backup striker of Man City is good enough to win Arsenal the league. I think we need to go and buy our own striker. I don't really like it, if I'm honest, buying players from clubs and doing the sloppy seconds type thing. Because for me, I don't know any teams that have ever done that and it's worked. Now, you can throw De Bruyne and Salah at me, but let's be real. When they signed them, they were still risks. When has it ever been the case where somebody buys a player from one of the best performing player at the club and then all of a sudden, boom, it works? I can probably think of Robin van Persie maybe for one season. Won Man United the league, job done. But other than him, Torres went to Chelsea and was a flop. Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko haven't worked for Arsenal, in my opinion, yet. Who else is there? Raheem Sterling hasn't worked. Cole Palmer, maybe, but he wasn't one of the elite at Man City. He was a kid they didn't want. When does this actually happen? So I would personally rather put a Gyokeres or an Osimhen ahead of Julian Alvarez. And I'll say it because I don't mind saying it. It might sound bold to people, but I'd rather have Ivan Toney. Because Ivan Toney's proven he can score 19, 20 goals a season for Brentford. And Alvarez at the moment, albeit hasn't played first-team football, but has played quite a lot, to be fair, hasn't been able to get the goals and the numbers, in my opinion, that could take Arsenal across the line. Everybody said from Man City, Jesus will score 20 goals a season for Arsenal. Why? He never did it for Man City. He was never going to do that for Arsenal. So that's one link at the moment, is Julian Alvarez. It's not the only link. There's other links as well, but there's other sources that are reporting that this could be the case. I don't know how many people like the Sunday Mirror, but they are saying that we're monitoring the situations. They're going to demand a deal with add-ons, which will be around about £80 million for the player. So that leads me to Gyokeres, because that's what he's going to cost roughly. He's going to cost around about £80 million. Now, I quite like what I see from Victor Gyokeres. I do. I quite like what I see. I don't think that he is a player that would be an absolute flop, but I honestly don't believe that he's not a risk either. So I believe there's definitely, potential for this one to be, or us to have interest in this one. So I wanted to share some of the rumours, but I wanted to look at this that I saw today, because Victor Gyokeres, people say, don't really want him because he stands up front and he scores a few goals. You clearly haven't watched Victor Gyokeres, because his stats show ball carrying, his stats show link-up play, his stats show that he's good with both feet, his stats show that he's aerially quite good. 58 GA in 50 games is incredible, absolutely incredible. So then I saw this, and this is something that I looked at and thought, oh my goodness, like, I've got to share this. This is a Victor Gyokeres piece of play from Sporting Lisbon. And this is him ball carrying. This is him assisting. And if you look at it, and it's going to show in a replay in a minute, it's absolutely incredible for where he picks up the ball. The way that he actually takes this ball and turns and just drives is something that I would say I would love to see in an Arsenal shirt. He's gone through, he's taken it past two, he keeps going, he keeps going, he keeps going, he knocks it past, he's run, and then he squares it. Now, most strikers probably would have even had a pop from there, rush of blood to the head. He's just squared it. Now, it's a bit lucky how it's bobbled in, but to be fair, he shouldn't have missed from there. But the way that he picks this up and just spins on the halfway line and just drives and drives and drives, that's the sort of play that I think we could be looking at Arsenal, personally. Now, a lot of people will say, we've got players that can do that. Yeah, we have, but our number 9s don't do that. Havertz doesn't do that. Jesus is normally linking up playing a different way. I've never seen him run from the halfway line all the way from there. That's the sort of goal that I think Arsenal could potentially look at. So I'm a big fan, to be fair. Big fan. And I like a lot about what I hear from Victor Gyokeres. Now, a lot of people say it's a lot of money. Oh my God, this is such a 100 million euros. It's such a risk. Sometimes you've got to take risks on strikers, right? Sometimes you've got to believe that he's the right guy. He's going to take you across the line. And if Mikel Arteta and Edu want this guy, I don't believe they would sit there and say it's too much money. They'll go and get him, because they did that with Declan Rice. They did that with Declan Rice. They said that it would be an opportunity for them, if they could, to get the player they want, which is Declan Rice. 100 million, yep, cool, sounds good to me. They went and got him. So maybe, just maybe, Victor Gyokeres is the man, and they believe they'll go and get him. And he might even not have to be the £84 million release clause. It might be closer to 60 or 70. Who knows? Sporting Lisbon might say, I want your release clause. When we actually get to a stage where we can be interested in this guy, it might be that he then decides, I want Arsenal, and they might have to drop the price then. That's the way I see it. Victor Gyokeres has never had an injury. Touch the good luck of wood to say that that's not going to happen if he comes to Arsenal. But he's never had injury, so his injury records are very good. He's on form. He's on fire. And those sort of goals, fair play. I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing. One thing I'm not a big fan of is the likes in the chat, man. There's 367 people to be exact. And we haven't even hit 100 likes. So let's make sure that we hit the like button. It's a free button to hit. It does mean so much to the channel, and it shows me that you're liking the content. So please make sure you hit the like and then hit subscribe as well at the same time. 2 of those buttons are free, and it really helps the channel grow. So please make sure we do that, guys. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you get any questions you want to ask in as well. I think that's only fair that we do that as well with you guys. I've started to star some at the moment, so that's definitely something I want to go through with you guys for sure. Victor Osimhen. What is happening with Victor Osimhen? He signed personal terms with PSG, agreed personal terms, should I say, with PSG. Napoli have said he's going. Napoli have not included him in any of the pre-season. They want him gone. It looks now that he is definitely going to leave the club, but where's he going to go? PSG have agreed personal terms with him, but it doesn't look like that one's going to go and happen now. I don't understand what's happening with the Chelsea links, because David Ornstein said that it looked like he was potentially going to be given a chance to join Chelsea with a swap deal with Lukaku and some money, and then an option to buy, I think, loan. That's gone very quiet. Not sure what's happening there. Wouldn't surprise if that didn't happen. Maybe Osimhen wants, in fact, to have potentially anyway. What am I trying to say? Osimhen doesn't want Chelsea, maybe. Maybe he wants Champions League football. Maybe PSG are now looking at Julian Alvarez instead. I don't know. I really don't know. But Arsenal were murmured to be linked with him. Rumoured to be linked with him. There was a few people talking like, watch this space. This might actually happen. Osimhen could happen to Arsenal. All I'll say is, either one of those signings would excite me. It wouldn't take me to the levels of Alexander Isak excitement. Let me tell you that. If that rumour is true, wow, that would blow the window wide open. That, to me, gets Arsenal across the line, 100%. In fact, I'll say this. Arsenal sign Alexander Isak. I'll put them down as favourites to win the league. Real talk. Real talk. If we get Gyokeres or Osimhen, I'd be excited to see what they can do. But I'm not going to be bold and have the chest to go, we're going to go and get across the line now, because I don't know that they're going to get us 20 goals a season. I know Isak would. Barring injuries, Isak would. So that's the one we want. The two that are more realistic are the two Victors, Victor Osimhen, Victor Gyokeres. Which one is more likely? I actually think Victor Gyokeres is more likely, because I don't see many clubs in for him. I think Arsenal are the only club that are actually looking at him properly. Victor Osimhen, few clubs, PSG, Chelsea, Arsenal. Others are probably going to be looking at him as well. So I don't know that Victor Gyokeres is being looked at by other clubs. I know Tottenham were potentially looking at him. If they're circulating, he'll come to Arsenal over Spurs. I don't know if Chelsea were ever interested in him or if it was ever serious, but there was murmurings that he potentially could be interested in that move. Liverpool as well were looking at a number 9. Doesn't look like they're going to go in for Gyokeres now. I think Arsenal could get this guy if they wanted him. And that's the question. If they wanted him. Does Edu he's the guy that they want to line up and give the number 9 shirt to go, you're now the number 1 striker? Well, actually, it'd be the number 14 shirt, but you get me. The main striker, the number 9 in the team that you look at and go, he's the actual striker. Because for me, I actually believe that that's what he could be. He could be the main guy. And I see goals like that I've just shown you. I see other goals that he scored. He looks a baller, man. He looks a baller. I think the Coventry thing puts people off. I don't know why that is. Because for me, I look at what he's done at Coventry and I think that would absolutely help him in terms of his experience, but also how it's toughened him up. That's a physically demanding league. It's a physically competitive league. And in fact, it's one of the most competitive leagues in world football, the Championship. You've got to be focused. And he pretty much took Coventry to a playoff final in that year, which is just crazy, to be fair. Absolutely crazy. But back to Osimhen. This is what Romano is saying at the moment in relation to him. I think it's interesting. He's definitely leaving. I thought he was going to leave last summer, but there was clearly a signed contract with a gentleman's agreement that suggested that he could leave this summer. And apparently Romano has suggested that Osimhen's not even been called up for Napoli in their friendly game against Girona. Napoli and Osimhen's camp keep working on solutions for Victor to leave. Conte only wants Romelu Lukaku. Now that for me is really interesting. He only wants Romelu Lukaku. That basically is him, Conte, saying goodbye to Osimhen. He doesn't want him. So that means not only Napoli want to get rid of him through the manager saying I don't want him, but also the player is saying, do you know what? I want to go now as well. Where he goes, I haven't got a clue. I think Arsenal could get him. I think Arsenal could put him on fair good wages and pay a fee that Napoli would feel is respectful. That will probably have to rise to about 80 million, in my opinion. I think Gyokeres and Victor Osimhen will probably be similar-ish prices. I don't think it'll be a mad sort of difference. I think maybe Gyokeres might be a bit cheaper because he's yet to be proven in the way that Osimhen was and hyped up about so much. But when you look at the goals that's been scored, Gyokeres actually in the last 2 seasons, I think he scored more, in fact, than Osimhen. Well, I know he scored more than Osimhen. So maybe that is the less risk of the two. But listen, whatever happens, we get one of these and we've got a good striker. I wouldn't say we've got an elite striker or one that's going to get us across the line, but we've got a better chance of getting across the line with one of those in our squad than we have without one of them. Would you rather have Eddie Nketiah or would you rather have would you rather have Eddie Nketiah with Havertz and Jesus, or would you rather have Victor Osimhen with Havertz and Jesus, or Gyokeres with Havertz and Jesus? We all know the answer, yeah. It ain't Eddie Nketiah, that's for sure. So I expect him to be sold. I expect there to be movement after that. Still no movement on Mikel Merino. Personal terms agreed. Looks like the fee's been agreed. I expect that will happen in the next couple of days. But I feel like I've been saying that forever. Why does it take us so long to sign players? Like I put the Calafiori one down to, the fact there was other clubs involved. There's no other clubs involved in this. We've agreed personal terms. We've agreed a fee. Where is he? Where's the player? Like, what are we waiting for now? What is actually happening? It just doesn't make any sense to me, man. It's really frustrating. Anyway, that's that. So that's where we're at with incomings and outgoings on the centre forward position. It looks as if we're going to get the potential to enjoy the last couple of weeks of the window because we are going to be active. I don't think we're not going to be active now. I feel like there will be an opportunity for us to actually get a couple of players in, which I think we need. I still think we need 3 players, and that's with Merino. I think we need 2 more after him. Personally, for me, it would be a wide player that can play in the middle and someone up top. Eze and Gyokeres, for example, or Eze and Osimhen, for example. There's murmurings of Leroy Sané and Pedro Neto, but I'm not too sure that they're actually legit. I'm not too sure that Eze is legit as well. And at the moment, it looks like the striker option is probably more realistic at the moment in terms of who we're linked with than the winger option. But listen, if you want to go by who we're linked with, Leroy Sané and Gyokeres are the 2 that look probably more promising. But we'll have to see because neither of them could, to be fair. That's fair. Let's take a look at some of your questions in the chat. Before we do that, I'm just going to go through AFC stuff because some of that is really relevant. Where are we? Here we go. Let's share the screen. Let's go through what they're saying because at the moment there's a lot of transfer talk. There's a lot of rumors, but also people are back in training like David Raya. Both David Raya and William Saliba are taking part in individual training sessions it's no longer called how it's called Sober Reality Training Center. And that was on Friday. So they're now back. Obviously, Declan Rice is back with a new trim, which is looking lovely. Big up, Declan. We've got a bit of a Emil Smith-Rowe update, who's obviously being joined by teammates or ex-teammates Alex Iwobi and Bernd Leno. So big up to Smith-Rowe. I hope he does well. Post from on this day in 1999, Nicolas Anelka being signed. Wow, that's crazy. And here's Saliba back in training to meet with Mikel Arteta. What a season that boy has got ahead of him. Really, really excited to see what the future holds there. The Mail Sport understands that Arsenal co-chair Josh Kroenke had texted Mikel Arteta last summer, joking that it was the club's turn next to win a title. Of the Kroenke's 6 teams, only Arsenal winning the Premier League remains to complete. Now, first of all, that's a bit of a weird thing to joke about because it shouldn't be a joke that we haven't won a title. It should be the aim and the target. Don't know what the hell he's joking about there, to be honest. That's actually quite puzzling to read. But surely he's now wanting to take it serious because he's won everything else with his clubs. It's only us that needs to lift the trophy. So that's got to happen this season. Similarly, that's talking about that there. And obviously the Kroenkes are talking about the relationship they've had with Arsenal and other sports teams. We've got Calafiori. And this one was quite interesting, actually. Calafiori has said back in May, John Stones is his reference, is his style of play that is closest to mine. It's not off the cuff when I go into midfield. It's following the guidelines of the coach. He saw me in this role. That's what I like about it, is he's actually quite similar to an inverted fullback, like Ben White can do, like Zinchenko could do, but actually this guy's much better defensively. So for me, fair play. That's what I want to be hearing from Calafiori. Definitely. Saka, Rice and Saliba back in training. So there we go. Starboy back as well. Ramsdale also returns to training, which is great. Really, really appreciate seeing him. What's going to happen with him? And then they're all back to work training, which is all really good to see. Back together. Everyone looks to be fit. Don't think we've got any major injury problems at the moment. So that one is definitely a good thing. And then this did make me laugh. Everybody had forgot about Nicolas Pepe. But he has joined La Liga side Villarreal on a permanent transfer following his release from Trabzonspor earlier this summer. Whatever happened to Nicolas Pepe, never was going to work for him, bless him. I actually thought he was quite harshly criticised, if I'm honest, but There we go. I never thought he was the best player in the world. Certainly wasn't one of my favourite players, but he was a player that I thought got a lot more stick than some of the others because of his price tag. I don't always think that was fair, but there we go. Listen, let's do some questions as we come to the last part of the show. This one comes in from Niffin, who says, hey, Dan, do you think that Alvarez is good enough for us to bridge the gap against City? For me, he's quite wasteful in front of goal. I would prefer Osimhen or Gyokeres for basically the same price. Yeah, listen, they're all going to be a similar price. That's one thing that is true. If you look personally at what they would cost, Alvarez, Gyokeres, and Osimhen, who would you want? Well, Alvarez has done it in the Premier League, but he hasn't scored 20 goals, which is what we're after. Could he at Arsenal? Question mark. Could Gyokeres come and take the form from Portugal and England in the Championship? Question mark. And could Victor Osimhen find his form from the season before last? All those are massive question marks, which means what? Well, they're all risks, aren't they, for that money? But if Arsenal are expecting to go into the market and spend 25 million on a striker and go and win the title, ain't going to happen, guys. It's got to be 80 million plus for a centre forward in this day and age. So the question mark is, who do we get? Out of those three, Alvarez for me, I don't think is available. I think Man City are not going to make him available to Arsenal. He will go abroad. I think Gyokeres is the one I would look because he's the one that's on fire and on form, and I always think that matters. I think confidence is huge in football, and if Osimhen can try and find some in the Premier League and come and take that form that he had over in Serie A when he won the league with him over, then I think he'd probably be the better option. So not too bad signings to be linked with, is it? Not bad players to be linked with, that's for sure. It wasn't long ago we weren't linked with these sort of players, let me tell you that. Lee says, for Dan, do you think with Arsenal looking to sell both Eddie and Reece, why not offer both players to Brentford for Ivan Toney in a swap deal? I suggested this the other day, Lee, about potentially going in for Eze and saying, look, we'll give you Reece Nelson plus money. How much do you want for Eze? And then go up to potentially Wolves and say, we'll give you Reece Nelson and this amount of money for Pedro Neto. That's what I would do. Likewise, if Eddie Nketiah isn't interested in going to Marseille, then yeah, I would swap him with some money for Ivan Toney, 100%. 100% I would. I think there's potential for Ivan Toney to do well still in the Premier League, and I can't believe that no one signed him. Be surprised if Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, even West Ham might even take an ambitious move for him. Be very, very surprised if that doesn't happen. I really would. Big up, Lee. Hope you're well, bruv. This one comes in from Niffin. He says, is it just me or is it too tough to do swap deals? There we go again. I'm not going to read that one because that one has just been answered likewise by Lee. It's a fair play. This one comes in from Nando. Dan, don't you possibly think Arsenal have a better offer of 30 million from Palace and don't want to sell him in our league? So I think they're holding out big risk. If rumours are true, would you hold tight? Well, listen, if Crystal Palace are going to offer more, then you sell him to Crystal Palace, 100%. But at the moment, I don't think anybody has bid for Eddie Nketiah, only Marseille, and we've rejected it. And now they're suggesting that they might not go in with another bid because he's too expensive. They're going to go and try and find somebody else. So if that's all I'm hearing. If we believe that's true, then fair play. If not, then I imagine he'll stay until we find a suitable candidate for him to leave. Also says, why are we not spending big considering we got 80 million from Champions League football? Arteta has said in his press conference that a Rice kind of signing won't happen, and sources are saying we'll get floor raisers. Bit concerning. It's concerning because we want to see it, but it's not concerning if there's nobody out there they want. So, for example, we can all scream Bruno Gyokeres and Isak at the screen as loud as we want. Say we want these two players coming in. We can scream De Jong as loud as we want. We can scream Nico Williams as loud as we want. Eze as loud as we want. If they don't believe them guys fit the bill, they ain't going to get him. If they don't believe that Victor Gyokeres or Victor Osimhen are the guys and Isak next summer is, we won't get those players. That's the one thing about Edu and Arteta, that they'll go for the players they want. They won't just go, oh, you know what, let's panic buy and go and get somebody. We haven't done a lot of that. There hasn't been much panic buying, in my opinion, in this regime, which has been good. Yeah, there were some bad signings, like Cedric, Pablo Marie, Lokonga, Tavares, Willian, but I don't know any of those were panic buys. I think that they were just bad signings, to be fair. I don't think any of those were rushed, to be fair. That's what I would say. So that's that. Big up to Niffin. I hope you're well, bruv. Nando comes in with this one, says, what if we got both and made Jesus the winger on the left? I honestly believe he will play more wide, Jesus, this season. I don't think he's going to come on in the 9. I really don't. the only way he'll do that is if we don't buy another attacker. Because Havertz will need to be either arrested or if he's injured or suspended, then Jesus will have to play the 9. But I think Jesus' best position is actually off on the right-hand side. And I think that he could cover for Saka should we need that. And that's why I think a striker is vital so that he can actually play out there. That's my opinion anyway. Rob Carter, let's blow the next 2 summers' budget on Isak and Kudus, I think he means there. Yeah, I'd take both players, but I kind of feel like we need both of them this window, not next window. I'd absolutely love it, trust me. But I do believe personally it's probably going to be next summer. Kudus has a release clause next summer. I think the release clause is £80 million. Isak, we all know, would be available next summer if Newcastle don't get Champions League football or drop out. I happen to personally believe Newcastle might get top 4 this season. And I think that people might look at that as a wild shout. But 1 game a week with their players back, they've got a chance, man. They've got a chance, especially in this competitive league where people can beat anyone. Now, though, Dan, say we do get Marino and Victor Gyokeres and we sold Eddie and Nelson. Who would you go for after that to make it the perfect window in years? Well, listen, Calafiori is one that's come in. Marino's one that has come in. Victor Gyokeres is another one. The one that I would go for would be Eze. I mean, Nico Williams would be the perfect option. But Leroy Sané, Pedro Neto and Eze are 2 other options. The reason I would say Eze is because he can come and cover for Ødegaard and he can play for Saka in Saka's position. That's why I go with Eze. And I think that would be a dream. If we got a striker, a winger, 2 midfielders and a left back, we're set. We're absolutely set. So no excuses if that happens. Nando also has said, sorry for so many questions. Last one from me. Even if we get Marino, would you still go for Ruiz on loan? I don't think that I would because from what I hear, they're very similar. And a lot of people said they prefer Ruiz. But if we get in Marino, I don't know that we can get Ruiz as well, unless we're going to do like a double pivot. And I've suggested we could do that and that both would potentially be exciting. But let's be real, I don't see that happening now. It's just gone completely dead, that potential rumour. So maybe we were looking at it, but it's now not looking likely. So let's see. CS has said, why did the club wait so late to get active in the transfer market? I don't think anybody else really has done much. I look at Liverpool, I look at Man City, I look at Spurs. Manchester United started to do some business, but it's gone very quiet. They can't seem to get deals across the line at the moment. What's happening with them, with Mazraoui and with De Ligt? What's going on with Jared Branthwaite? Are they getting another midfielder like Manuel Ugarte? I think all of these is going to be an opportunity for us to actually look at what people are not doing and why. PSR, I think, has come into play, not because of what people can't afford for the top level, but what other teams can't afford. Other teams can't afford to go and buy somebody, so they're not really interested in selling players. They're trying to keep the players they've got and try and build on it once they're stable financially. Also, you had the Copa America and the Euros that people are coming back from, so they weren't 100% fit. That's why I think it's been a little bit of a cute window so far. But big up to yourself. Rob says, which 3 players, if available, would you have for a striker, a right winger, and a number 8? Well, the number 8 is going to be Marino. The right winger for me, I would go with Eze because he can play in the number 10 and the number 8 as well. And then the striker, if I had to pick one right now, it would be Alexander Isak. But if not, and it weren't a perfect dream window, then I would go for Victor Gyokeres. That's what I would do, 100%. Make sure you do me a favor, people. There's only 145 likes off of 500 people in the chat. Let's get it to 200 people. Make sure you click the like button, please. And make sure you hit subscribe. There's almost 500 of you in here, so that should be 250 quite easily. We're only off for 50%. So please make sure that we do that. Make sure you show Manscaped some love as well by clicking on the pinned comment, going to their website. That would be fantastic and much appreciated. Taking the last few questions now before we do come to a close. This one comes in from Patrick. Says, Dan, my lad, where do we think Timber will play? Any specific position or used all over the back line? I think he's going to be versatile. I think he's going to be playing at right centre-back if Saliba needs a rest. I think he's got the option to play instead of Ben White if Tomiyasu's injured. I think he's definitely got the ability to play at left-back if Calafiori is needed to be moulded in and isn't just going to be jumped in the deep end. So I think he's going to be a very important player for us. And I think he's going to be one of the most used players in terms of subs that we see, because I don't think he will start. I think there'll be an opportunity for him to start games in the Champions League, in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup. And I think we're going for 4 competitions, which I want to do this season. Timber's going to be a very, very important player. And one that I think will be one of the most used off the bench and also starting. So that's the way I see it. So big up to you, Patrick. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you are well indeed. This one comes in from Azaz, says, Dan, what about João Felix? No, not for me. Aston Villa are interested in him. I don't really think he's ever settled in England or anywhere other than when he started in Benfica. He went to Atletico Madrid for 105 million. He was supposed to be the next best thing. Didn't really work for him there. He's gone to Barcelona. He's gone to Chelsea. He's gone to other clubs. He's now been linked with another move away. It ain't for me. It just is not. Niall says, any update on Marino? Not at the moment. Fabrizio says it's all agreed. Personal terms done. A fee is agreed, but he's still not here. Why does it take so long? Question mark. I don't know. Nando again, big up, bro, says, Dan, don't you think we really still need two left backs? Or if we sell Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney, we'd need two new left backs. Calafiori is more of a centre back. Sorry, I did say the last one was my last one. No, mate, you ask what you want, bro. Listen, at the moment, things are fine. If we sold Zinchenko and Kivior, we'd be short again. Because we'd have Timber and Calafiori at left back. But we'd also have Timber and White at right back. And we'd also have Timber and Saliba at right centre back. So Timber's got to cover 3 positions. And then you've got Gabriel was the only left centre back because Kivior's then gone. So Calafiori would have to be the left back and the backup for cover for the left centre back. There's not enough. So we can't be selling all of them. We've got to potentially sell one of Kivior or Zinchenko. That's what I think we've got to do, personally. I would actually keep him because I think that we need the strength in depth. Kieran Tierney's probably going to go. But, I would keep Kivior because I actually don't think he's actually that bad, to be fair. I really don't. Niffin says, I think Arsenal are doing the right thing with Eddie and Nketiah. Considering Villa want 40 million for Duran, asking for 25-30 for Eddie who has all the goals isn't that much, in my opinion. The problem is his wages, though. So, Niffin, I agree with everything you've just said, and I agree more with the last point. I've got nothing wrong with us asking for 30 million euros or 30 million pounds or whatever the sum might be. But when a player is on 100k a week, Marseille aren't going to be able to afford that. The French league is not like the English league. They're skint over there. So they're going to put their players on about 30 to 40k a week, probably. We cannot be expecting them to pay top whack for someone who's on 100k a week. They can't afford to pay him that. And if they can afford to pay him that, which is probably what he wants, they've got to lower the fee. So I kind of am understanding it both ways, if I'm honest. This one comes in from Nick Hill, who says, how do you think we will deal with the first 5 games? And what are your expectations? I want at least 13 points. I want 15 points, mate. From the first 6 games, I want 18 points. That's what we've got to be now. None of this, think we can draw that one, lose that one. Think we can maybe draw a couple of them. Like, we know what we've got to do, right? We know what we've got to do. Let's bring the stats up. Let's bring the fixtures up. Let's look at our first 6. It's been so long since I've looked at it that I really want to see where we're at. Right, let's share this screen and bring up the fixtures. Here we go. We got Wolves first, which I did know. And I think that's 3 points. I do. I think that's 3 points. I think that we're too good for Wolves and we should be easily, comfortably winning that game by 2 or 3 goals. I really believe that. Then we get a tough trip to Aston Villa. We're at Villa Park at 5:30 kickoff. That is a ground that we've never gone to comfortably and walked away from with a breeze in the park. That is going to be difficult. Lost there last year. I remember having very difficult games there in the past. We have to win that game. We are the better side. We are the better squad. They've got Champions League football. We have to beat Unai Emery sooner or later. So that needs to be 2 wins out of 2. Then we've got Brighton at home. I actually think Brighton might struggle a bit this season. I don't think Brighton will be in a position like they were last time where they had like the manager in De Zerbi and XYZ. I actually think losing the players they've lost, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure that they'll have a great season. At home, they do quite well against us. It has to be said. They do. They do very well against us. But I think we'll beat Brighton. I really do. I don't think Brighton will be a problem this time. So I'm going to go for that to be a Arsenal win too. Then it's the big one, the North London derby. And we've got Tottenham away first, which is never usually the case. We normally have Tottenham at home first. I'm quite glad this time it's the other way around. I fancy us to beat them there. We were 3-0 up at half time. Yeah, they nearly come back into the game for our own errors, but let's be real. Actually, I fancy us. So I'm going for another win there. So what's that? Tottenham, that's 1, 2, 3. That's the first 4 games, and I think we'll win them all. Then we've got Manchester City, which I'm going to go for a draw against. I think Arteta knows that he goes there not to lose. I think it would be nice for us to go and get a win, but let's be real. Let's just get out of there with a point at the bare minimum. Let's not lose this game, not this early on. This one is more important to draw than it was last year, and everyone thought it was important to draw this year. I think really you got to start well. So a draw there, I think. That's the first 5. So you're right, 13 points, bro. I must admit, I think that's fair. Then we've got Leicester City at home. That should be a win. And then we've got Southampton at home. So really, after the Manchester City, Spurs and Villa games, we have got easier fixtures and an easier run. So really, we should be looking at that with confidence. We really would. We really should be looking at that with confidence, understanding that we could potentially go there and get 3 points. What's great is we can go into every game at the moment now, knowing that we've got a chance of winning the game. And there were times not long ago that we thought, oh my God, it's not going to happen. Going to Anfield. Oh, we're going to St. James Park. Oh, Villa. Oh my God, this is hard. We're 8th in the league. Do you know what? Ain't like that anymore. Big up to Just Joe. You're an absolute legend, my bro. Big up to all of you for raiding. Big up to all of you for coming over. I know you're all Leeds fans, and I am sorry that West Ham stole Somerville from you. I am sorry. I actually wanted you to go for Reece. Wanted them to go for Reece Nelson so that you could keep Somerville, but unfortunately, Somerville and Archie Gray leaving. And what's happening with William Nonto? Is he going as well? I mean, wow. Come on. Leeds, I need you up in the Prem. I need you to keep some of your players, please, because otherwise it could be a struggle. So let's hope you do that. But big up to Joe. Big up to all of Joe's crew. Big up to the community. Much appreciated. And yeah, I really hope that you do well this season. I really mean that. I really do mean that. Make sure you get a couple of questions in, people. Going to ask the last couple here now. Make sure you get a couple in by the time I've finished these questions as well. This one comes in from Nikhil, who says, how are you going to both games this week? So I'm going to the Bayern Leverkusen on Wednesday, and I'm going with all my family, so that'll be lovely. I'm not going to the other one, though, the actual Emirates Cup one on the weekend with Leon, is it? I'm not going to that one. So I'll be watching that one at home or with friends. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the team together for the first time, seeing what it's like, looking at Calafiori, looking at Timber, looking at how sharp Martinelli and Jesus look, because I think they're having good seasons this season, big seasons for them. I'm looking forward to seeing Ethan Nwaneri, because he looks like he's been a massive part of what Arsenal have been doing within the pre-season. And I think Ethan Nwaneri is going to be the guy that I think anyway is potentially breaking through next. So personally, I think there's going to be an opportunity for us to take a look at Ethan. But big up for your question. This one comes in from Rob. Says, it's not a question, Dan, but a polite request. My brother-in-law and wife have had a baby boy today and will be a new gooner. Could you give a shout out to Elijah Barbosa Looktung? Really appreciated. Well, Rob, absolutely I can. Massive congratulations. Absolutely superb news to your brother-in-law and, of course, your wife. A baby boy, welcome. Big shout out to baby Elijah. Thank you all so much for that. That's really, really sweet of you. And you know what? Baby Gooner in the house. A new Gooner is born. And I hope that there'll be many, many more across the world. So big up to yourself, Rob. And please do send all of them my well wishes. So thank you so much for that. This one comes in from Gavin. I hope you're well, Gav. He says, what do you think will happen with Tomiyasu? It seems like people forget about him, but he's great depth if healthy. Problem is he's never healthy. He's made of glass, bruv. That's the problem with him. We've got a few like that, haven't we? And he's one of them. Kieran Tierney's another one. Zinchenko's another one. Jesus is another one. Partey's another one. We've got a lot of injury-prone players. But what we have got, which people don't always talk about, is the durable ones. The durable ones, you know, how many games David Raya plays, how many games Ben White plays, William Saliba all season, Gabriel all season. You look Ben White as well, how good he was pretty much the whole season. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard. Need a few more like that. Need a few more like that on the left. Let's hope Calafiori's like that. Let's hope Martinelli starts like that. And let's hope that we get this left 8 Marino guy that's like that, as well as a striker that's like that. That's what we need. And let me tell you this, Gyokeres is one that does not get injured. So let's make sure that he's the guy we get. Tomiyasu, let me talk about him quickly. I think he's one people forget about because of his injuries, but when he's fit, He's one of the best on the ball that we've got aerially, as in terms of one-on-one defending. He's one of the best. Well, he is the best we've got aerially, in my opinion. I'm not meaning from corners, but he can score goals from there. Offensively good from set pieces as well. Defensively good as well. But actually in the air, when the ball's coming across, he wins everything. When it's punted up long, he goes and he gets it. So for me, superb. Rashid says, Potts, we need a trophy this season. No excuses. Absolutely, my bro. Absolutely, my bro. 100,000 trillion %. There's over 200 people that have liked now, which is great. There's over 500 people in here. Make sure we get that up to 300, please, people. And make sure we get the subscribes up as well, because that's free. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button and it's done. And we get on our way to 30K. Okay, where are we next? This one comes in from Nando, who says, will you ever do a live call-in show? Maybe soon, maybe transfer deadline day. Big up with all the hard work you put in. Maybe you reach 30K. Hit those likes, people. Nando, yes. Believe it or not, yes. I actually asked Sam to make me a nice thumbnail today to do a call-in show, and I'm going to try and trial a couple of those out. So I'd like to get some of you guys on to talk about it. It's great seeing you in the chat. I absolutely love the interaction. I love the comment section. But it'd be good to actually get you on and have a chat one-on-one. So we're going to get some gooners on for sure. So, yeah, watch this space on that one. I'm going to try and do it with Lee Judges as well on his channel. So won't just be on here. So we'll look forward to that one for sure. This one comes in from Will. It says, what's the minimum you expect from us this season? And what will make it a success? Well, what will make it a success is if we're doing that. That's what will make it a success. Yes, doesn't matter if it's a League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. It needs to be a trophy for me. And the minimum expectation for me is silverware and a title race with Man City taking them to the wire again. That is the minimum expectation. No more trophyless season. No more we tried. No more we're second best again. No more, but we got to the last game of the season again. Nope. Silverware and title race. That's honestly the way that I see it. And some people might think that's harsh, but that's the way it is. Nifin, he says, what 6 do you think will sign next summer once Partey and Jorginho leaves? I thought you meant what 6 players then. I thought, crikey, I'll be here all night. What number 6 do we sign? Watch what happens with Bruno Gyokeres and Isak with Newcastle this season. I happen to think Newcastle will do very well this season. They're actually someone I tip for top 4, because I think with one game a week and the players they've got, they should be going for Champions League football. If they don't get it and they were to drop out of Europe, I think we could end up getting both of them. That's what I think. We can end up getting both of them. If not, I think we should go all out for Isak, definitely. And I think we should go out to go and get a 6, like a Frankie de Jong. Or maybe we should go all out to go and get somebody like a Barella or a Joshua Kimmich or somebody like that. That's what I think. There's not many about that you look at. Zubimendi, he might be a good shout. Some people have mentioned him. I think he's got a release clause, but he doesn't want to leave. So that could be one that you look at. So very interesting. That could be a very interesting one. What else have we got? Mum, do you think City will get punished for the 115 this season? No, I don't think it'll be this season. And in fact, I just got a feeling they'll probably get away with it. If I'm honest with you, I just think they'll probably get away with it. I don't know why. It just tells me something nasty tells me they'll just pay someone off, or they'll get away with it, or they'll be found not guilty and we crack on. But for me, something dodgy's gone on there. Something fishy. I ain't a lawyer. No idea. I don't really talk about the politics of it because I don't really have enough evidence to suggest they've done anything wrong. But it sounds dodgy to me, that's for sure. This one comes in from King in the Indy. He says, Dan, I've loved the development of the channel over the last year. Thanks for all your hard work, mate, all the way from Jamaica. Big up and blessings. Listen, big up to you, my bro. Absolutely love messages like that. That's what keeps me going. I really appreciate this, and I really appreciate you tuning in, subscribing, liking, and all of you guys that keep coming back. I really appreciate seeing where the channel's going as well. And we're expecting big things this season. We really are. I've got more time to dedicate into this channel now. You guys seem to keep coming back, so that means I'm going to have to keep turning up, aren't I? So I have to say, so yeah, that's the way that I see it. But bless you, my bro, and I really appreciate it. And also, I want to say thank you to all of you guys that have joined from day one right the way through to joining today, because some people don't know about the channel. You guys spread the word by liking and subscribing. You are spreading the word and you're supporting the content. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Dalasu, super chat. Thank you so much, bro. That's really kind of you. I really appreciate that. Dan, I don't subscribe to this notion about Arteta being fired if we don't win anything. Should become second and make a Champions League final and lose the FA Cup final. Do we get rid of Arteta? So this is a really interesting one because there's context in everything that we do, isn't there? And some people don't like the word context. I actually do think it's a legitimate situation. I think if you're a penalty kick away from losing and winning, then it's very, very difficult to take being sacked. My problem I've got is I've seen it before. I've seen people be ruthless. I've seen Di Matteo win Champions Leagues and get sacked. I've seen Avram Grant be a penalty kick from John Terry away and get sacked. I've seen Carlo Ancelotti winning stuff and getting sacked. I've seen other managers win stuff and get sacked. We're not winning stuff. We need to win stuff. And as much as I appreciate the job that Mikel Arteta has got to get us here, I need him to prove that he's the one to get us across the line. And if he can't do that for the next season and the next season and the next season, how long do we keep going until we do make a change? And that's my question to you. I'm not saying we need to do it now. I'm not saying we need to do it at the end of the season. I'm saying that there needs to be a conversation about, right, win me something by this date. And if you don't, thank you, but we've got to win something now. That's where I'm at. And I know a lot of people don't like that because they, well, no, please keep hold of the guys. We're a good club like that. We don't sack managers. But we do. We do sack managers. Like, let's be real. Arsene Wenger was sacked. I know he wasn't, but let's be real, he was. He was like, do you want us to sack you or are you going to walk? I better walk then. George Graham, Unai Emery. We do sack managers. That's what happens. And Mikel Arteta won't be here one day. He won't. When Arsene Wenger was here in 96, he knew one day he weren't going to be here. When Mikel Arteta took the job, he knew one day he wasn't going to be here. We are Arsenal. We are not Arteta. We're Arsenal FC, not Arteta FC. But trust me, personally, we've got to win something. And it doesn't matter how he doesn't. Oh my God, he was hanging on penalties on the last minute of that FA Cup final and that's now gone wrong. Did he win it? No. If the answer is did he win it, the answer is no. It's going to be very hard to keep him here with another trophyless season. It really is. Because when you look back in history, they don't go, who won that year? That was the year that Arsenal lost on the penalties. They'll go, that was the year Chelsea won the FA Cup. That was the year Man United won the League Cup. That was the year Real Madrid won the Champions League. And that was the year that Manchester City won the league. What did Arsenal do? Well, what Arsenal did was they went to the finals of 3 of the competitions. They ended up, they're like, don't care. They did win it, did they? No? Okay, right. We'll move on to the next year then. When did they last win something? Oh, they won something in 2020 in COVID. What about the league title, 2004? What about the League Cup, 93? What about the European competitions? Last time they won that, 1994. Well, they're not very, very good at winning trophies then, are they? Are they a big club? Yeah, they're huge. Well, they better start winning stuff then. This is what people have in conversations. And that's me not talking as an Arsenal fan. That's me talking as a rival fan. People that are saying Arsenal aren't a big club really don't really win stuff, do they? You go, yeah, we do win loads. And you go, oh, blimey. No, we don't anymore. We get a couple of FA Cups in the last 20 years. That's all we've had. So let's just be real about it. So, yeah, that's the way that's where I'm at. But listen, Dalasu, thank you for your super chat, bro. And when we do call-in shows, I'd love to speak to you about it because I love opposite opinions to myself. As long as they're respectful, you don't get idiots in the chat that just want to start giving it to people. Then we're all good. And I think it's good to get different people on here. That's why on this channel, you're going to see people with all sorts of opinions. People that love Northside, you'll see Northside. People that hate Northside, you're still going to see Northside. People that love a gal, you're going to see a gal. People that hate a gal, you're still going to see a gal. Bavs, Kenny Ken, myself, you're going to see a lot of people on here throughout the season talking all things Arsenal. Harry Simew, Tom Canton, Sophie. You're going to see the likes of Gunali, Premsy. You're going to see Stricto. You're going to see Jez. You're going to see these guys 100%. They're all going to have difference of opinions. You're going to see Julian on here. You're going to see Chris Hudson on here. You're going to see Troops on here. You're going to see Curtis on here. So please make sure you like and subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell. Listen, we're going to be back in the morning, people, at 8:30. Please make sure you join me. Tomorrow morning, it will be all transfer news of all clubs, including Arsenal. Then at 1 p.m., I've got Chris Hudson on with me. Been a long time coming as well because he hasn't been well, bless him, last week or two. He was feeling a bit rough, but he's better now. So tomorrow at 1, be myself and Chris Hudson talking all things Arsenal. So please make sure that you join us for that one. And then tomorrow evening, there'll be another show that I'm going to drop, which is one I think you definitely will like about what Arteta's trying to do with the defence. So big up. Lee Gunner, yeah, people are asking for Lee Gunner. Listen, any content creator that you want to see on here, drop them in the comments and we'll invite them on. I don't care who we speak to. I like everybody. I get on with everybody. So that's all good. Listen, people, make sure you show Manscaped some love. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. How many likes are we on at the moment? There's 500 people in here, and we have got 233 likes. Make sure you do better than that, people. Come on. We can get up to 300 quite easily. All you got to do is hit the like button. It's free. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. Nando's agreeing. He says, defo get Julian on. He's very funny. Hilarious. Big up Chris Hudson. Can't wait. You'll definitely see him on the show tomorrow at 1 p.m. So make sure you're there. Listen, people, I'm going to go now. Absolute pleasure. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. And as always, up the Arsenal. Laters.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.